And good afternoon, YouTube land. This is Dr. Abe. I wasn't planning on doing another video today, but I got a request from a couple of folks in my subscriber base to tackle this topic. As you might be aware, with the ongoing situation with the flooding in Texas, there was a social media post by a doctor in the area of Texas that's being affected by the floods, in which she said some absolutely vile things. And I'm not going to give any more attention to what she said than is absolutely necessary for context, because I don't believe in giving undue attention to bad actors. That's something I think the media does too much of, and is part of the reason that violence is so glorified in our culture in general. But I do need to read what she posted, because it's necessary for context, unfortunately. But then I'm going to switch to something more positive, and looking at how the medical practice that employed her responded to what she had posted, because I think it's a great example of a compassionate response in a crisis, and a great example of a positive way to use image restoration theory. So I want to start off, and I'm not able to turn my camera, so I can't show you this on my screen, but I want you to pay attention to this very closely. This is from a social media post by a poster named Christina, 2 words, Christina, who media has identified as Dr. Christina Propst, who lives somewhere in Texas lives and practices somewhere in Texas near where the flooding is occurring. But her social media post is Christina. And this post went viral yesterday or the day before, went viral, and I'm going to quote from it directly. So this is this doctor's words, not mine. Quote, "May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Kerr County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts," unquote. Now, I don't care what your political persuasions are, that's vile. And coming from someone who, a physician who takes an oath, the Hippocratic Oath, to treat anyone who they are treating with respect and to do no harm, and quite frankly, someone who by extension is specifically in a specialty that works with children medically, for someone to post something like this is just, it's vile. I mean, I can't think of a better word. It's just beyond the pale. It's beyond human decency. I could keep going with the superlatives, but I think you get the idea, and I think you agree with me. But what I really want to call attention to more than that is what I think is a very appropriate, compassionate, and level-headed response from the practice that formerly employed this physician. And this is from the social media page of Bluefish Pediatrics. They're the medical office that employed this particular physician who made this post, Dr. Christina Propst. And they write this. This is quoting directly from a statement on their website. Quote, "To our patients and community, this past weekend we were made aware of a social media comment from one of our physicians. The individual is no longer employed by Bluefish Pediatrics. As we previously mentioned in our original statement, we strongly condemn the comments that were made in that post. That post does not reflect the values, standards, or mission of Bluefish Pediatrics. We do not support or condone any statement that politicizes tragedy, diminishes human dignity, or fails to clearly uphold compassion for every child and family, regardless of backgrounds or beliefs. We continue to extend our full support to the families and the surrounding communities who are grieving, recovering, and searching for hope. Now, this is a response that is delivered, and by the way, you can see this if you have a Facebook account. You can go to the Facebook search feature and type in Bluefish Pediatrics, and it's the second or third item down in their Facebook timeline. So you can see it there. I'm not able to show it in the video, but of course, again, I just read directly from the statement. This is a great example of a compassionate response to a horrible situation. And just a situation where the reputation of this Bluefish Pediatrics, this medical office, certainly was going to be affected. It was going to take a hit in the community based on what this physician had posted. And so what Bluefish Pediatrics here is doing, whether they agree with it or not, or whether they are intentionally doing this or not, they're instituting what's called image repair theory in responding to this, or image restoration theory. It can be called either one. And image restoration theory has several possible ways to respond to a crisis situation when the organization's reputation is threatened. And there are several different things. Number one, there's denial, and they're clearly not denying that this took place or that this did not happen. In fact, they clearly recognize up front that it did. There's evading responsibility, which is where the organization tries to distance itself from what happened, or tries to pass it off on someone else or on a different organization or whatever. And again, we don't see that here. We see actually corrective action, which is another component of image repair theory, where they are taking action and have already taken action to correct this. The physician is no longer employed by that office, so they have responded with corrective action immediately. In fact, that was the second thing. Beyond the general acknowledgement, actually, it was the first thing that they put in their response. Quote, "This past weekend, we were made aware of a social media comment from one of our physicians. The individual is no longer employed by Bluefish Pediatrics." So right away, they demonstrated corrective action. And that is a testament to their organization, that they recognized this and they immediately took action to terminate this physician who made these comments. There's also the idea of reducing the offensiveness, which can take several sort of different shades. They do not in any way try to reduce the offensiveness of what the physician said, but what they do is they do call back to their values. This post does not reflect the values, standards, or mission of Bluefish Pediatrics. So what they're more or less trying to do with that is they're trying to engage in a sub-strategy, which is called bolstering, and that's where they discuss the previous good that the medical practice has done. They call customers back to their stated values, and it's kind of a way of reminding customers about the goodwill that the medical practice has in the community, has had in the community, and sort of suggesting that these statements by this one particular physician are not going to affect how they do business or affect their values going forward. The kind of fifth and final strategy that can be used in image repair theory is what's called mortification. And that's where the accused company or organization admits responsibility and asks for forgiveness. And we don't see that all that much in this statement, but we do see them offering something of an olive branch that could approach that. We continue to extend our full support to the families and the surrounding communities who are grieving, recovering, and searching for hope. So there is that idea that we have taken care of this problem. We are moving forward, and we're providing this medical care, medical support to the community that is that's clearly needed. And it's also clear from their statement, they said, quote, "We do not support or condone any statement that politicizes tragedy, diminishes human dignity, or fails to clearly uphold compassion for every child and family, regardless of background and belief." So they are distancing themselves from what this physician said. And they are stating that even though this was that one physician's opinion, that is not a collective opinion that they as an organization share, and they have terminated the physician because obviously what she says does not align with their organizational values. So this is a good example of image restoration theory, image repair theory in action. Obviously, we're not far enough removed from the events to evaluate how effective the statement will be in the long term, and they've issued several other statements as well. I just read from this one in particular. But as time goes by, and we can evaluate the long-term impact, we'll be able to see how well the public responded to this. But this is a good initial attempt of being compassionate to the community, while also acknowledging the wrong that has happened. And the crisis communication scholar Timothy Coombs, who's probably the leading scholar of crisis communication, said there is no downside in a study that he did on the use of compassion. There's no downside to responding to crisis situations with compassion. And that's something that I think the Bluefish Pediatrics has done well for the most part here. And again, as time passes, we'll see what the public reaction is. But initially, they seem to have done well handling what is a situation that no organization wants to be faced with. But again, I urge you, everyone listening, do not politicize this tragedy. Help the victims in any way that you can, and do not give attention to these kind of vile statements that we're seeing on the internet. All right, that's it for Dr. Abe, and I'll see you next time.